Hello, friends and parents. So, today I'm going to talk about an interesting topic. The topic is the importance of asking questions. Now, the students, are about 5 weeks away from, approximately 5 weeks away from their exams, and many people will say, what is the point of asking questions right now? If I had to ask questions, this was, something I should have done 2 months back or 6 months back when I was actually learning the concept. Now is the time to study because exams are close by. I need to make sure that I study and practice my questions of the exam really well, and that's the way to go. Why do I need to ask questions right now? It's too late for that. And I would disagree. And the reason why I would disagree is because of what I'm going to share, of why is it important for you to ask questions. So the first important thing I would say is that questions basically pop up in your head whenever there is a knowledge gap, whenever you are looking at a particular concept and you don't understand it. That's when the questions that's when your brain asks you a query. How does this happen? For example, let me share you one of the interesting questions that came. It's very simple but very interesting because it helps me analyze and prove my point to you right now. So one of our students approached us and they asked a specific question that if carbon is combustible and if oxygen helps in combustion, is needed for combustion, then how come CO2 is used in fire extinguishers? Now, I would say, okay, good question. Now, I understand there is a doubt somewhere, and there are multiple ways of approaching this particular question. But what it tells me when I'm asked this question is that there are certain things that the student is unaware about, and now I have to know what questions to ask the student in order to identify where the knowledge gap is. So we know that there is some knowledge gap so that this connection is not made of how why CO2 is used in fire extinguishers when its base components are either combustible or required for combustion. So the simple question that we can ask is, um, do you understand the concept that when a chemical reaction happens between two elements or compounds, the product out of the chemical reaction does not necessarily have the property of the things that made the product. And so that means that CO2 is a product of a chemical reaction between carbon and oxygen, and so CO2 need not have the same properties as carbon and oxygen. Now, if this is not obvious to you, a simple example is hydrogen and oxygen makes water. Hydrogen explodes whenever you're trying to burn it. Oxygen is absolutely necessary for any type of fire or combustion to happen. Um, but water, it's also used in some of the fire extinguishers. So if you want to start getting a basic level of understanding about how to answer this question, you can first of all say that okay, if there's a chemical reaction that happens between the two products, the product of the chemical reaction does not have the same properties. Okay, how do we keep on getting further into this? Now, do you understand what covalent bond is? Do you understand what valency is? Do you understand what sharing of electrons is? Do you understand what balancing chemical equations is? So do you understand why CO2 would not want any more oxygen when even if it is available? And so that is another level of inquiry that we can go into. The third level of inquiry that we can go into is to understand how a fire is created. Say fire requires three things: something that burns, a combustible material, the right temperature, that is the base ignition point beyond above which a thing will start burning or spark. The last thing is oxygen. You need oxygen to have fire. And so, what does CO2 do? Well, CO2 is heavier than oxygen. So when CO2 is released from the fire extinguisher on something that is burning, then it replaces the oxygen. So once the oxygen is removed, the whatever is burning is starved of oxygen, thus the fire disappears. So there are multiple ways you can approach uh, the question that was asked to us. And the important thing to note in this particular case is that that question resulted into multiple questions that were asked at multiple levels. And depending upon which question you were not able to answer, what was the answer determined. So the reason why I'm mentioning this is because there is just a month, or just a couple of 4 to 5 weeks left for your exams, but you still have strengths and weaknesses. And if you don't know the right way to tackle your weaknesses, you will only practice what you're strong at, but never keep on improving your weaknesses. So whenever you have any kind of doubts, a question is popping up, if you're feeling shy, try to overcome that, because if you have the doubt, there's a good chance that other students in your class also have the same kind of doubt. No question is a bad question. No question is too late to ask, even though you're very close to the exam, because what it will tell us and what it will tell you is that there's still some knowledge gap remaining in your head, and our objective is to make sure that most of your knowledge gaps are removed, and the only way to do it is if you ask us questions. And if you are studying for your exams and you're not understanding concepts and you still no questions are popping up in your head, what I would ask you is to ask yourself the most important question: why is there no question popping up in my head? Because that is absolutely essential in order for you to learn any concept that you're unaware about. So good luck studying for your exams, but feel free to reach out to us. Actually, I insist, make sure that if you have questions, it's very important that you ask the subject experts if you are not able to solve it yourself, and we'd be happy to help you. Best of luck again.